Arsene Wenger once said these referees from English Premier League, they are protected like the lions in the zoos. And why is it that most of these officials, great officials who officiate these finals, come from these unknown leagues? Letter of the law, what happened to that? Since Declan Rice was given red card because of very frivolous, we have lost almost 8 points because of poor officiating from these model referees in English Premier League. And the David COOTE incident shows time immemorial that these English Premier League referees, they are biased. We lost the Champions League because of poor officiating. These new rules in the English Premier League, they are always tested against Arsenal. Hello guys, welcome to the Football Mess. Happy New Year 2025 wherever you're watching this video from. It's gonna be slippery just as usual. Today I'm going to talk about the English Premier League referees for the third time in a season. Just recently, the scandal of David COOTE, it is enough evidence to show that these referees are biased in English Premier League. The way they officiate these matches and influence the outcome of these matches, it is astonishing. Arsene Wenger has always been complaining about these referees since 2000 since Manchester United ended the Arsenal unbeaten run of 49 matches. Since then, Arsene Wenger has been wailing about the way officials officiate matches in EPL.
As it is well known, the referees are protected very well, what is right, like the lions in the zoo, and so we have to live with that decisions.
And he asked a question.
We have seen the same things again, and I see no improvement, you know, and there are two countries in Europe where you have professional referees, in Italy and in England. Not one English referee will go to the World Cup, but everything is all right. You cannot say a word against it, but because they're untouchable.
And why is it that most of these officials, great officials who officiate these finals, come from these unknown leagues? While the best league in the league, in quotes, they don't offer anything, because most of these referees are very incompetent, and they influence these matches each and every weekend. How many points has Arsenal lost this season? 4 points against Brighton, first leg and second leg. A very silly red card in the first leg. The second leg, Anthony Taylor gives a very silly penalty I've never seen in my being a football fan since 2004. I've never witnessed such a very frivolous penalty red card, like the one that was given to Trossard, to Martinelli, with Michael Oliver. I remember when Arsenal was playing against Manchester United, if it was not for VAR, there's a very silly offside that was given when Aubameyang scored from Saka assist. A very clear goal. The best league in the world that doesn't have a camera on the line to show that this ball was outside. This is not an issue of Arsenal only. Majority of teams last season, Wolves lost very many points. They nearly got relegated because of poor officiating in English Premier League. Each and every weekend you must have complaints arising from English Premier League. I've never had each and every weekend scandals from Bundesliga, La Liga, Syria, French League One. I rarely hear complaints or instances whereby teams are complaining of poor officiating in these leagues. Arsene Wenger once said these referees from English Premier League, they are protected like the lions in the zoos. And it's true, because they are untouchable. Season in, season out, every weekend, every month, every year. Football fans around the world keep on complaining of poor officiating in the English Premier League. They have the best players in the world. They have the best coaches in the world. But the officiating is championship level, or League 1 or League 2. That's how pathetic the officiating in the English Premier League is. I can give instances, very many, since last season, the previous season, since 2005. I can outline instances where I've seen poor officiating in the English Premier League, and you wonder why is it that it keeps on going on and going on and going on. These referees make mistakes this weekend. The following weekend they are demoted to championship. They do the same mistakes in the championship, and then they come up again the following weekend officiating matches in the EPL. How absurd is that? And the fish start rotting from the head. And the head of PGMOL, Howard Webb, was one of the most controversial referees on earth I've ever witnessed. I remember that World Cup in South Africa. He refed that final. He nearly spoiled that final. For how long will this substandard officiating continue in the English Premier League? People use a lot of money subscribing to watch this league. And what do they get in return? Is there any season in English Premier League that it will go the whole season with great officiating? And then what happened to that law? Letter of the law, what happened to that? Since Declan Rice was given red card because of a very frivolous law, Trossard the same against Manchester City. You have lost almost 8 points because of poor officiating from these model referees in English Premier League. And the David COOTE incident shows time immemorial that these English Premier League referees, they are biased. People, Arsenal fans are the loudest talking about this because most of the time, since 2005, we lost the Champions League because of poor officiating. We have been on the wrong side of all these decisions. They have always hampered Arsenal progress. So we have been always on the wrong side of these laws. These new rules in the English Premier League, they are always tested against Arsenal. And I'm sick and tired of this officiating. How can you compete with each and every time? After every 1 month, you lose points because of poor officiating. Right now, Liverpool is ahead of Arsenal with only 6 points and 1 game in hand. How many points has Arsenal lost this season because of poor officiating? Almost 8 points. 8 points from poor officiating and inconsistencies. Newcastle versus Tottenham. Earlier that day before that match of Arsenal and Brighton, Anthony Gordon and Kulusevski, that incident wasn't even checked by VAR and given a penalty. That deserved a penalty, a clear penalty. Anthony Gordon was bleeding profusely. And then the slightest touch of Saliba versus Pedro, it is a penalty. But letter of the law, where did that go? The letter of the law. That incident of Kovacic injuring Odegaard and Rice and Michael Oliver had the balls of not giving the second yellow card to Kovacic because he didn't want to spoil that game. How many instances since the red card of Trossard and Rice this season? How many instances have we seen those silly yellow cards being dished out? Since Arsenal suffered and lost points from that day, the PGMOL have abolished that rule. It doesn't apply anymore since they have done what they all wanted. They wanted Arsenal to lose points. That's what they wanted, and they have already accomplished it. Because since then, that law has vanished. They don't use it anymore. There are no referees that can come and change how officiating is done in the English Premier League. And that's why they will continue officiating in these small tournaments and small matches in these huge tournaments. And those referees from Polish League, Portuguese League, from French League will continue officiating big finals in big stages. While those referees from English Premier League, they will continue being flower girls. Thank you so much for watching the Football Mess. Muchas gracias, merci, asanteni sana. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. Chef Bill Mkono, I'm out. It's gonna be slippery just as usual.